it was never meant to be, but like this, it wasn't part of the script. Liverpool losing 3-2 away to Fulham, not something that we would have seen come in. We're going to get into it. I'm joined by Stu. There's going to be potentially some others joining. We'll see who joins. But Stu, it's been a long time since we last spoke.
Yeah.
The landscape has changed since we last spoke. Certainly about Liverpool and prospects of winning leagues and winning titles and going far in competitions. And it's obviously been, and I guess it's probably a good thing in the sense of our own expectations have gone astronomical because
Yeah.
of what Slot has done over the last 9 months, and we're disappointed over a result against a really good Fulham team. Okay, they're mid-table 10th, but they're actually better than their league position suggests, and not far off from European football, and that's what they were fighting for because they're a very, very good team with very, very good players, and we've already had experience about that. But we're gonna get into it. We're gonna talk about what happened in the last game against Everton and the impacts on that. But let's kind of just talk about it. Is there a bit of the hangover from the Everton game? We put so much coming into that. Is that something that's valid, or is it a case of just one of those bad days that we have every now and again?
I don't want to say it's another one of those bad days because it's not. It's been clearly evident that games like this are coming further down the season. PSG game, cup final against Newcastle, even the Merseyside derby a few months back. We struggled then. Ever since the turn of the year, we have not been in the best of form. Yes, we've been picking up results, and yes, we've been lucky. But yesterday, in the first half, especially, the amount of possession that we kept on losing, the amount of misplaced passes,
the
lack of concentration. Szoboszlai, Konate. I'm not going to put any blame on Jones. I don't think he was at fault.
He was put in a very difficult position, and
he is, and
that should have been big enough. And I think I said in the preview, and sorry, we're going. This is going to be like a bit more of an organic conversation rather than and whatnot. But the preview we spoke about, who needs to be right back, and Jones shouldn't have played right back. Let's be honest, because that's a it's a warning sign.
It was a big risk, and it didn't pay off. But I think if Bradley's fit enough to be on the bench, then surely he's fit enough to start the game at least, and then play out 60 minutes or so, and then see where we're at. I honestly think the game probably would have been a lot different if we had a more natural, right back sitting there.
Defensive-minded player.
It wasn't just like sort of the right back position. Even like sort of players who you think you can rely on, like Van Dijk, was having a horrendous game. He was getting bullied by Muniz left, right, and centre. He was making mistakes alongside Konate and alongside Robbo as well. I mean, nobody in the back line can hold their heads up and go, "Yeah, I had a good game," because none of them did at all.
No.
But I struggle to find a real wow moment for
the goal. The goal was a spectacular moment, wasn't it?
I mean, building up even into this, because I think this is more of a problem that we've had going on since the turn of the year. I think it has just been slowly building up to this point, and it is only by pure luck, I think, more than anything else, that we've had things go our way results-wise, that we've managed to just grind out enough points for ourselves, and then lo and behold, we're top of the league.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I don't want to overreact with essentially 15 minutes of madness yesterday. Yeah. That's what cost us. There was essentially two goals where there was a rebound off Jones, who's unlucky. It could have been, but again, it's one of those situations where a more defensive minded defender would have possibly dealt with that in a better way because of the
may have been in a better
anticipation.
position, possibly.
Anticipation and understanding how to read a game and whatnot. So that's one thing. The Robbo situation was ridiculous, and I don't think you'll ever do that again.
That cross, right?
I just don't understand.
It's the first rule as a fullback: never cross.
No,
across the back line.
No, I don't. I do not understand that situation when there was a really interesting angle from behind the goal, essentially, where you could see who was in front of Andy, and there was lots of space. There was lots of space for him to run into rather than kind of just passing the ball. Again, that's just one of those situations where he's read the situation incorrectly and made the wrong decision. We've seen it with Andy over the last 18 months, and he's done really well to get back into a position where he's still quite valuable to the team and what he can do. It's a situation where we need to kind of fix, isn't it, in the summer?
We do.
And then the Van Dijk, I think the point that you were making, and I think it's a really, really good point, that he seems that he's off the boil a little bit, and I think he's getting a little bit more manhandled by opposition strikers, and they sense that they can get in quite early doors with him and give him a bit of some issues. Beto
did exactly the same.
He did exactly the same. And I've never seen Verge kind of play the way he is, kung fu, kicking air kicks to the ball and whatnot, but still kind of just, I'm not too sure what's going on there.
I think the whole tone of the first half, especially, was set in that first 5 minutes when Canate made that slip up, and obviously it went through to Kelleher. And I actually think we got away with one. I think that could have been well justified for a penalty when Kelleher came racing out and he took out Pereira because Canate slipped, let the ball go. I was a little bit surprised that wasn't actually given. I think the only reason why they didn't is because
he did release the ball. Fast. It's just that release, isn't it? And that's probably the
I think that's
process.
The only thing that saved it. But we've all seen those sort of ones given before, so I was a little bit holding my breath, thinking, "All right, that could have been a penalty." But just that whole moment itself was just a screenshot of what was to come for the first half. And it didn't give me a good feeling. I thought, hang on a second. But then when McAllister scored, I was like, oh my God. Here we go. Belting goal, by the way. That was a stonking goal.
Yeah.
But then after that, implosion.
It's a goal good enough to win matches, and unfortunately it didn't turn out that way.
Yeah.
So really looking at XG and the quality chances that we had in the second half, and we'll come to that in a bit, but it's just one of those things. West, nice to have you on. Thank you for joining. So let's have a look. So Canate was dreadful, Robbo disaster, Verge essentially not on it for a few games, which is really, really concerning.
I'm telling you, it's that contract situation. I know people kept on saying the contract situation isn't going to affect the player's form. I was like, listen, come towards the business end of the season, if it's still not sorted out, that's when you'll start seeing it. And lo and behold, Salah's form has dipped a bit. Van Dijk's form has dipped. Well, what's to be expected? I know a lot of people will say, oh, no, they're still professionals. They've got to get on with it, blah, 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 blah.
But they've got to protect themselves a little bit, haven't they?
It does it regardless.
But that's no excuse for everybody else, though.
No,
it's no excuse for Andy Robertson to put in performance. Canate today, West, I'll bring you on this one, but Canate, the rumours have come in today where he's demanding 2 figures. I've seen, either 120 grand. He wants a new contract worth 125 grand a week or something along those lines, or 200 grand a week, whichever one you want to believe. But that's the news today. It's quite convenient that it's actually come out today, and the Verge news is slightly emerging. Who knows what that all means, whether that's being released there. But if you think with the situation with Salah, with Trent, with Virgil, and how that may be impacting them, there's no excuse for anybody else. There's no excuse for the midfield to perform the way it did, the way that Szoboszlai was passing or non-passing, to opposition players in key areas. It's not just a one-off. It's consistently happening. But what are your thoughts about that first half itself?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Greetings to everyone. It's been a long time. I haven't seen your faces, your beautiful faces. I missed you guys. Personally, yeah, of course, but then it's great to be on the chat. For me, the first half performance for me, I want to be harsh, but then for me it was pathetic. Like that, like you see the chance you guys talked about the penalty. I didn't see that chance. So when I logged into my game, I just saw like we're under duress, but then like we're playing well. And then I saw McAllister score. I was like, oh, okay, maybe they're gonna turn around. And then the first goal for me, like the first goal, okay, Curtis Jones. But then I thought like Konate could have been strong in that situation. To be honest, I expected him to be strong. I didn't expect him to get pushed the way he got pushed. And then when he came to the second goal, for me, like I think Robertson, the second afterwards, I thought 1-1. Maybe let's try and hold the game, make it run, and then go to the second half and try and sort ourselves out. But then Robertson made it 2-1. I was like, come on, really? Because I look at Robertson now, like I hope the Kirkers deal is on the way. And I'm not a person of rumors. I don't like rumors. I just like done deals. So I hope the Kirkers deal, they're looking at it, or any left back, because for Robinson to make that pass, for me, it was unnecessary. Played long, or even though you're getting more kicked the ball out, tell me why you had to go the other way, the other by Curtis Jones side. Like, tell me why you had to do that. Like, for me, I was so lost. Like, it was like the thinking, like, it was there and there. I think when he made that pass, I think it was 2 minutes later, he was in the same position and then he kicked the ball long. So tell me why you couldn't do that in the first round. Like, because I look at him, isolation, where like, twice against Fulham, you cost us the red card last year, and now you're giving them goals. Because, like, to be honest, the Fulham was great, but then their goals all came from mistakes where our players should have done better. And I look at the third goal of Van Dijk couldn't let. I couldn't believe how Van Dijk let Muniz chip the ball by his feet and go on and score. I think Van Dijk could have just nudged him a bit or try and like block him or maybe hit the ball out. But for Muniz to come and trap the ball and still push you and still go score, for me it was a bit like I was a bit like, no, I can't. But then therefore I look at Slots also. Like I feel like Slots could have made changes. And I don't think at the defense, but then I the feeling where Tsimikas could have played. We played 1 game a week. I look at Tsimikas now, like get on. Harvey Elliott came on, he changed the game. Diaz, Bradley, they changed the game. So I look at the manager also. Tell me why he's still sticking with Soboslai. I saw you guys complain about Soboslai. Tell me why he's still sticking with him. Because what has Jota done for you to prove that he deserves a start? He scored against the Everton game, but then as a whole of performance, he wasn't that great. So tell me why Jota deserves a start. Like we have squads, we have players in the bench like that he could use where he's not using, and when they come on, they make a difference. So I just look at the manager in these type of games where like rotate the squad better. I'm just saying.
And this is a really good point, Del. Thank you for joining. It's a really, really good point. We do mess around a little bit, possibly too much. We have that the MO that's come from Slot there, Stu, of we just want to be conservative with the ball. We want to make sure that we're a more balanced attack. We look for that bait from the opposition to trigger the press from them. So the high press or mid press itself, and that has its own impacts and risk because it is a high risk because you're essentially attracting opposition players to come onto you.
You're baiting them onto you.
You're baiting them exactly, and that's the problem. And what we found is if teams are working this out, and that's what they're doing potentially. Of okay, we will attack at this point because these players aren't as comfortable with the ball as other players. As your McAllisters, as Gravenberch's, but Soboslai, when he gets pressured, he makes blind passes. Robertson, same. You got Jones. There's moments in the first half. I was screaming at the TV, release the ball, release the ball, release the ball. I even put it in the group, just release the ball with some expletives as well. I just don't understand what he's doing, why he does what he does. What's your thoughts about Jones as a player? Can he get to the next
I think
next
that's his
stage?
biggest weakness. He has got really good ball technique and control. Really close ball. It is probably some of the best that I've seen. But the problem is he utilizes that aspect of his game way too much and holds on to it way too much. I totally agree with it, and not just in yesterday's game, but there has been other games where he's played where he's held on to it for too long. And yes, sometimes it's paid off. He's managed to get a decent assist or he's got a goal out of it. But more often than not, he holds on for it too long, and we miss a chance at a build-up. We miss like a key pass moment, and he's been doing that an awful lot more lately. I think that's mainly down to Slot. He sees him as a good ball controller, and he's probably instructed him to hold on to that, but probably he's taking that too far as a tactic and thinking, okay, I can keep hold of the ball here. No, there's still a pass there, and I think we've been a little bit spoiled to a certain point of view. I think with Klopp's fast-paced football, that's what we kind of expect. But Slot is a lot slower in the build-up, and like you say, it's a high risk. We play to bring the other team onto us. We bait them out and then try and play around them. That takes a long time because you've got to try and find those little openings and whether they're actually going to fall into the traps or not. That's why the pace is a lot slower and the tempo is a lot slower. I get that. That's the way he wants to play. But at the same time, it is also incredibly frustrating because there are moments where the players aren't showing enough intelligence to break the lines.
Like I think it's really interesting. No. So it's really interesting that Pep Guardiola yesterday spoke about Nunes on his team, and because he's been playing Nunes as right back, isn't he? And spoke about him being a capable right back, but essentially doesn't have the intelligence to play in the centre.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm seeing essentially is the same situation with Jones. Granted, when he moved into the middle, he took his level up, but then the bar is a little bit too low compared to the other players, and that's a bit of a situation. But there's a footballing IQ that you need to be able to do about reading the game and the pace in which you need to play to quicken. You need to quicken up at this point, particular point in time, or you need to hold on to the ball at a particular point in time. West, I'll come to you about this one, and obviously, Steve, if you got more thoughts, let us know. But the situation kind of led to us trying to be quicker, but the players that we have don't have the capabilities. I can understand Robertson trying to get the ball over to Jones when it was an absolute suicide pass. It was absolutely criminal, but he's obviously trying to engineer something, and we're just not we don't have the players to be able to do that right now in certain areas.
Okay, for me, like that. For me, like I look at it like, of course, I get it. Like we want to be quick, right? But then, as Stewie said, this is not Klopp. Klopp spoiled us. We were just quick, rampant. We're running. We're causing mayhem. But then now we need to understand that now we have to play slot system. We're under slot now. If he wants to build up bit by bit, build up. When it comes to the Curtis Jones point, for me, Jones, like of course, I didn't like Jones, but then now I like him. But then now I look at him where, like, as you're saying, you're screaming in the TV, release the ball. I was also like that, like release the ball much quicker. That's the problem with Curtis Jones. As like, because I know I trouble Curtis Jones. I remember when he did an interview with your opinion, and like he said, like his favorite player is Eden Hazard. And I look at Hazard, the way he holds the ball. He holds the ball for long, like he goes past players. That's what Curtis Jones thinks he is. And I want to offend like Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones is a good player, but then he holds the ball for too long, especially in the first half, where he held the ball for too long. For what reason? I don't know. Played quick, at least try, because like there's certain parts where we're one up, and like we had like a transition, and Curtis Jones had the ball, and then became like now we're passing sideways now. I feel like for Jones, he has to decision making in the final third has to be better. But I look at him and I look at Elliot. I see Elliot's kind of better decision making in the final third than Curtis Jones. But then, like, nevertheless, like the team wise, I don't think we have slots players. At the end of the day, these are Klopp's players. So let's see for slots players will they transition? How will they play break a low block? But I feel like you see these games coming up. I think all teams are gonna just play a low block against us. Besides Arsenal or Chelsea, but the rest of the teams are gonna play low blocks, and like we're gonna have to try and figure out to break them.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, and Stitches, and thank you for joining tonight. We were just talking about Curtis Jones, the right back, and whether that's the right position for a player of his caliber. I think the situation is whether he's been instructed to play in a particular way. There's kind of certain levels as to what you need to be doing. You know, whether he's trying to bait. The press where he's trying to bait a tackle, a foul from the opposition, because there was one moment in the first half which absolutely infuriated me. But it's just it's not all doom and gloom in the sense of we're Liverpool, we should still be able to get back into this game. You know, that first goal, if we can get it really early in the second half, it can make all the difference, and you never know what could happen. So in the second half, Stitches, Jota has found an opportunity to pull one goal back, and unfortunately the keeper made a good save. That was massive opportunity for us to kind of get ourselves back into the game, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Oh, we just lost Stitches. Stu, go on. I'll come to you about that one. We were just talking about the Jota opportunity. Unfortunately, we just missed it.
Was it? Oh, sorry. I thought he was coming back on.
Yeah, no. You go first, Stitches. Steve.
Right. Sorry, with Jota. Jota's a bit of an enigma at the moment. He's gone from Jota the Slaughter to Jota the Notter, I suppose.
I mean, that one.
I'm going to get on a t-shirt. It's weird. I know that is in a lot of it will be down to the injuries, rhythm. Obviously, every player requires rhythm to keep going, but I don't see where he's going to pick up the form that we need him to at the moment. Yeah, he got that goal against Everton. Great goal. No doubt he's still got the talent to do it, but so something just doesn't feel right. I don't think that's his natural position. It's
so for me, and I'll ask you guys what you think. I think the situation with Jota is, I think he's still obviously a very, very capable player. And Slop does believe in him. I think what we're finding out is it takes him a little bit longer than we should want from a player to get back into rhythm. Stitches, you're back with us. I'm gonna come to you about the situation with Jota. Unfortunately, it's just a case of the options that Slot has. He clearly doesn't fancy Chiesa in that front nine. Doesn't have faith in Nunes, even though he's had lots of opportunities over the course of the season, and unfortunately he hasn't taken that opportunity. Yet he still kind of perseveres with Jota. What other opportunities and options does he have going forward until the end of the season?
I think it's quite clear that he wants to get Gap as quickly as possible and back to speed, because he relied on it quite, and Gakpo was in a fine vein of fun. Jota's an absolutely brilliant player when he's in rhythm, but unfortunately, for one reason or the other, he just had so much luck with injuries and whatnot. And it kind of reminds me of Daniel Sturridge in how effective he is, yet we can't seem to get him on the pitch for long enough periods, especially at the business end when we really need his abilities. And I agree with you. I think it's quite apparent to see that Slot doesn't really fancy his forward options. As you mentioned, Chiesa. I think it's clear it doesn't really fancy. you talk about rhythm. He's one player that has any sort of rhythm.
Sorry,
Ended
Stitches.
up
I
back
think we're
on
just
bench.
losing you. Just to pause the internet signal. We're getting half a conversation from yourself. I don't know if there's anything you can do while you're doing that. But while you're just sorting out your internet, West, I don't know if there's something that you want to just kind of come back on from what Stitches was saying about the options from up front. But unfortunately, we need to kind of stick with what we have until the end of the season, and then kind of reassess as to what we do going forward. I'm sure Richard Hughes knows, and Slot and Michael Edwards knows exactly what we want to be doing in the summer. But that window of opportunity doesn't allow us to do anything right now. We need to kind of win this league, and what's the best way to do that?
For me, the best way to do that is like use your squad. Like you see, for the past 4 games, I look at Slot. Like since decision making, I'm a bit concerned. Like you use your squad. You can't tell me that Chiesa is like Ryan Sterling. You can't tell me that Elliott is like he is a bad player. You can't tell me all these guys are bad players. These guys last season, Klopp even said, "I regret not playing Elliott more than I should be." Chiesa was helped the Juventus to win the Coppa Italia. Like Chiesa has been like that good player, so I don't know why he's not playing. Of course, the Plymouth game dents them a bit, but then like I've seen in the Liverpool squad certain players that played the Plymouth game are still playing now, like the Jotas, like the Nunes, like the Diaz's. Even Diaz has been live in the past 2 games, but then like, I look at now Slot, like, use your squad properly because I think you know what killed Slot, this Liverpool team was a rotation. Like if only Slot rotated better the squad. Yeah, and then we maybe us now we can be previewing a Champions League game. To be honest, because now I think it goes back to the Southampton game. Tell me why Gravenberch just playing the whole 80th minute of that game. Tell me why Salah is starting the game at Southampton. These guys are relegated. They're gonna get relegated. They're never gonna come back. Tell me why Sobos like we gotta start playing so much minutes. I look at the manager. So now like Slot next season, I'm a bit concerned to be honest. I just want this league to be wrapped up and done with because I want people to now start having hope. Just wrap the league up and try to use the squad better because now it's like Liverpool only have a great 11. The bench is also good enough. You can see yesterday's game, second half, the bench changed it. Diaz came on, and I don't know why Diaz got dropped for. Elliott came on, Jones moved to the middle, Conor Bradley, like Salah looked more lively. When Conor Bradley came on, I saw Salah and I'm like, okay, there's Salah in the game. He came on. And also like I remember you talking about Jota. With me, Jota, like I really don't know where I stand with Jota because like he can score against Everton, then he goes and misses that chance. And that chance, I look at people say it was a great save, but then like try and curl it. Try and go for the for the right post, I mean. Don't go straight to him, because I think he went straight directly to him. Just try and go left or somewhere else. But then when it comes to slots, like he has to use the squad better. Like the squad has to be rotated better.
And it's the squad that almost got us back into this game. Bradley coming on there, Stu made a massive difference, and you can tell how important he will be. Exactly, massively, right? So as long as we can keep him fit for the rest of the season, and the bottom thing is we could be champions next week. Come next Sunday, we could be champions. That's how close we are to winning this league, people. If certain fixtures go our way and we perform next Sunday.
I understand what Wes is saying. That sentiment is that it is clear that Slot doesn't have doesn't trust the squad entirely, but he has to. I think that's the point. I think us, like sort of fans, we can see it through the season, the players that he does like and the players that he doesn't like. That's clear and obvious. But I think he showed a little bit of managerial immaturity in like sort of having to like sort of bite his own tongue a little bit and go, okay, I'll swallow my pride. Some of these players look absolutely knackered. And let's not forget, and I will stick with this mantra, this is still Klopp's squad. End of. It is still the tired squad of a few years, minus a couple of the players. Slot needs to utilise the squad more, regardless whether he trusts them or not. He has to use these players more because some of these players look absolutely dead and buried.
Dead on their feet, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where, regardless of whether he trusts them or not, you got the players like Elliott and Chiesa. Carabao Cup final, they came on, changed the game.
Yeah.
We got a goal. Again, Chiesa comes on. He's a nightmare because he's all over the bloody place. He is a nightmare. He pops up left, right, and centre, but that's great. Give him a start. I don't understand it. He is an extremely talented footballer. He hasn't lost that talent. It's just the injuries. Give him a bloody chance. The same with Elliott. It's like, just use the squad. I don't care whether you trust them fully or not. Just use them. Otherwise, you could end up regretting it.
No, you're right. You're right, and I totally agree. I think we come to a time in the league now where we do have the time to be able to rest and recuperate. It's one game a week now until the end of the season. So there is the opportunity. Okay, if Slot does want to persevere with a core 14, 15 players, and that's it, then that's fine. In the sense of our next game's on the weekend, we got a full week to prepare for that and train ourselves to win this league. Get ourselves back into what we should be doing and what we did at the start of the season. There's still lots of things that we still could be talking about in terms of that game on the weekend. What we should be doing. What we should be doing is actually looking forward and seeing what we need to be doing against West Ham at home. We need a good crowd. We need the players on it. We can do a bit of a mini preview, a very look forward to that game itself. But if you're Slot and you have a full week, what do you do, Stu? Do you still kind of persevere with that team and try to find? Well, I wouldn't put Jones in that right back position, but Bradley's back. He gets a full week of
full week of training. I think Bradley
and he should be ready.
Yeah, but I think Bradley gets picked. I think Alisson back in the side.
Yeah, he's massive.
Again, a huge aura at the back. Again, very calming effect. I definitely think him and Van Dijk bounce off each other a lot better than he does with Kelleher. So again, that frees up another midfielder. Jones going back into midfield. Now, for me personally, I think Szoboszlai should be dropped for the next couple of games. And he should be starting Elliott or Chiesa or Jota, having Chiesa and Jota up front, but swapping over as like a double false nine shadow striker role. Switching over.
That Man City game where we play 4 midfielders, no striker, it worked a treat. Whether we should be doing that at home against West Ham when we're trying to chase the league.
I think you can play that way as like, so you play Jota as the actual striker or Chiesa as the actual striker. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I think, out of all of it, Dom should be dropped to the bench, I think, for a couple of games. I think his form has dropped off. I think he looks absolutely knackered. I'm not surprised for the amount of ground that guy has covered.
Yeah.
And I think McAllister as well. I think he needs a bit of a rest. So I think there's a couple of midfield spots that I think should be swapped around, but I don't think Slot will now, because he will see the fact that we've got a game a week as just a rest period during the week now. So I don't actually see too many team changes happening besides Bradley at right back.
If we were in about a month back when we had lots of games and we were getting to the situation where we lost to Fulham, yes, I probably would be crying for changes in the team in the starting 11 come that next game. We were so close to this league, we're so close to this title, and I do understand in a sense why Slot is persevering, because he just doesn't have the trust. But when you're a coach and head coach of elite players, you've had 9 months to be able to coach them into a style of play that kind of suits what you're looking for.
Yeah.
If you're unable to kind of bring those players back in, whether to start here and there, it just takes that little bit of load off your main guys. And if things don't kind of work out, then you can bring them back on, because Slot was very good at that, wasn't he? There, West, where it was a case of, I will put this lad in, and if there was a situation where it's not quite working, then I can bring in my big guns, and he did that quite well, didn't he, West?
Oh yeah, he did that. Like the start of the season, he did that very well. Like where he brought on players, and then they were not working. They were not working. Then he brought in his big guys. Yeah, he did that very well. But then now I'm looking at you now, like I expect you to do it again. Like at least I want to judge and say, what, Kaiser, this guy is giving you a chance. You can't look good enough. I want to be saying that, but I can't say that because now people are killing him over the Plymouth game, which happened a month ago. You can't be killing a player of Plymouth game where I see Jota starting the lineup, stinking out week in, week out, so slide, shocking performance yesterday, giving away the ball, even at the cup final game, even against PSG, they were shocking. McKesson looks tired, Campbell looks tired. So I expect you, as Julie said, you must trust the players. You don't have to, but you have to at the same time. This is a full squad. Like, you can't tell me that these players are garbage players. They're good players. The bench is garbage. They're good players. And what Stewie said, like, for me, Soboslai deserves to be dropped. Like, so is the first person I want out. Robertson also. And then go Tsimikas, go with Elliott. And it's not like when Tsimikas came in, he done bad. He kind of done well, to be honest. But then now, if it's not going to be stubborn, this might cost you next season. If you're going to start and stick with the same players at the same time. I'm not saying these players are bad players, but then like, we see that these guys are tired. We can all see it now. All of us are speaking. These guys are gone. They can't be playing the way they're playing. So that looks like he's on the beach already, to be honest. The way he gave away the ball yesterday. Robertson, he looks like he's gone. His legs are gone. Like, they finished. Like, there's no saving him at this point. I can only play him in Carabao Cup games, to be honest, next season. But then, like, Slot has to use the squad better. Like, I keep saying that, as Stewie said too, you must use the squad better. Like, he has to. He has no choice.
Stitches, you've got the floor for 5 minutes. I'm going to let you get your words out, because you've been persevering trying to get us back. You can drop some thoughts about what you thought about the game itself. What the thoughts are for the next game, because we've got West Ham. We've got a full week. We're not playing until Sunday, I think it is. So definitely time for us to rest and recuperate, reevaluate what we need to be doing, and Slot does his magic. What do you think?
Yeah, just to jump on the points that I was listening to, and I'm going to play devil's advocate, which is going to annoy everyone, but I'll do it anyway. If we're all in agreement that there needs to be more rotation, if we're all in agreement that there are players stinking up the place right now, then the question has to be asked at this stage, when Slot has had time to really understand the players that he has at his disposal, why would he choose not or rotate said players out of the squad? Let's imagine for a minute that he's not a complete lunatic or egomaniac who thinks he's completely right and there could be no other answer than he is right always. Why would he choose not to play these players? That's the point that I keep coming back to, because we can all agree that Slot is a highly intelligent, cleverly, tactically astute manager. We can all agree that there are statistics that he uses. We can agree that he studied the team before he came in. We can agree that he's now had 3/4 of a season, if you want to say that, to look at these players. So then why in players? Given that you and I watch these players when he chooses to use them for a few minutes, or as Wes mentioned, the Plymouth game, but he sees them every day. He sees them in sessions that we don't see. He sees the numbers that they're producing. He sees the performances that they're producing. He sees their attitude. He sees how they are around the training ground, but chooses not to use them. Why would someone who mentally capable and tactically astute, choose not to use said players? That's what I'm struggling with, that I can't answer. That's the $1 million question for me. And I think the simple answer is to say he's just stubborn, it's just blind, it's just ego. But there's got to be a reason. And I guarantee if you were sat in a room with Slot and you got to ask him these questions, he'd probably be able to nation as to what he's. He may disagree with what he says, but
I think what Slot has spoken about from the first moment he walked into the club is all about control and winning duels and that competitive nature of the way that he wants his team to operate. Now, I think the reason why he's not trusting certain players is because of that lack of control. However, as a devil's advocate kind of thing as well, sometimes you need a little bit of chaos. I know we spoke about last season with Captain Chaos Nunes coming into the team on a particular moment just to kind of ruffle people's feathers, do something, try to manipulate a game. It kind of worked against PSG this season where he allowed Nunes to come in and make a bit of a nuisance of himself. What we probably need from Slot for the remainder of the season is that little bit of acknowledgement that sometimes he has to let go. He has to let go of the control aspect of what he's trying to do and let players play. And I think that's the situation. Now we're coming to the end of the stream. I don't want to kind of go out on a bad sour note in the sense of it's all doom and gloom. There's time to kind of look and review the season, and we'll do that. But Stu, kind of last thoughts. You're still optimistic about winning this league, aren't you?
I only got one thing to say. Still got 11 points ahead. Still exactly. 11 points ahead.
Perfectly said. Perfectly said. And that's all that matters. The game's for us the league's there for us to win, and we're so close. West, any last thoughts before we close up for tonight?
No, nothing much. We'll take the game. Just rotate the team. That's it.
And Stitches, last but not least.
Yeah, I just think there's still a lot to be optimistic about this season. So much to be optimistic, despite the kind of doom and gloom surrounding everything and everyone trying to downplay what we've achieved so far. This is still on track to be like a phenomenal season. And I think we've got to start enjoying these games, especially with a week's rest in between each fixture now. I think you will see better performances. I think more time for Slot to work with the team in between each match and perfect the tactics for each match should have an impact. Players should be a little bit fresher. And listen, I think it will be a parade to the end. And I'm personally looking forward to it. I'm shutting out all the negatrons and all the negative noise around the club. I'm not letting it steal my joy. If you'd have told me we'd be in this position at the start of last season, at the end of last season, I would have bitten your hands off to take it. So I'm more than happy. And I look forward to the West Ham game.
Damn right.
Damn right. Absolutely agree with that. And one thing that's come out of the last kind of few weeks, certainly since Trent got himself injured, Bradley's and his performances actually warrant this as well. Bradley's massive for this team. We need to get Bradley back and playing and staying fit for the remainder of the season, because come next season, he's going to be absolutely vital. And I think we saw that on the weekend, how good he can be. So I'm looking forward to seeing Conor Bradley back in Liverpool shirt, operating on that right wing, because I think it answers lots of questions, and I think the pace of the game kind of increases. But that's for another day. We're gonna end it here. We are going to be back. I'm gonna say maybe hopefully tomorrow, maybe on Wednesday, but we'll do a preview before the West Ham game. It's going to be a massive one. It is a case of just rest and recuperate. I want everyone here to rest and recuperate. People in chat, rest and recuperate, because we need the energy come the weekend, because the boys are going to bring it. We're going to get another 3 points. We're going to get ourselves closer. Arsenal are going to falter, and that's all that matters, because we're going to win this league, aren't we? Good night all. See you soon.
Yeah, we are.